A few days ago, I did a painting, which it was based upon a photograph I've taken in Wells next to sea. I took a view from this direction, from and looking at this old granary, and catching all the architectural differences, and that mainly it was focused on this little gantry structure there. I don't know if you can see this, but I thought I had such success with it. A lot of people liked it. And so I thought I would come across and take a picture or paint from this direction with this little tower here. I'm not quite sure what that is, but you've got all the stairwell here. But I've still got the old building there. But in the foreground, I've got some nice boats and people here, and the foreshore, the water there. So we've got lots of challenges. You've got the green here, and then that's making out of focus. Wait a minute, I'll keep my finger out. But I've got these boats in the interest in the foreground, which is what you need, and these people and some greens. But my problem is, how do you, well, I've got to simplify this. This is far too much, really. So what I've done is sketch it out, but simplifying somewhat. Can you see that? So I've got the tower there, and the quay in the harbour side, and some boats. So I think this is what I've got to do, really, simplify and try and get some of those houses on the foreshore there. But I've got to try and get this water. Obviously the tide is out at the moment, but I've got a few boats in there, a few yachts. But I've got these people, and they're all crabbing and having a lot of fun here on the beach. And just at the base of this tower, there's a lot of marvellous old rocks and things, but I'll try and put those in. I've got a technique for doing that, so I must try and get that. But anyway, let's press on with that. Yes, well, we're all set up, ready to go. So this is my second painting of Wells next to the sea. So I'm going to put in, I want a fairly cloudy sky, actually. So I'm wondering whether to go wet on wet or just wet on dry. I think I'm going to go wet on dry today, so I can put some clouds. I don't want a graduated wash, really. So I'm just going to put in some blue. I've got various blues on my palette. In fact, I've got ultramarine, cobalt, and cerulean. So I think I'm going to go with a bit of cobalt today, perhaps with a old dash of ultramarine to brighten it up a little bit. But it's a fairly cloudy day there, bright and cloudy though. So let's make a little puddle up, which I've got here. I'm going to show you here. That's my cobalt, cerulean, ultramarine here. So let's, that's a fair puddle. I'm on Langford's 140 pound weight knot paper. So I've got some texture to it, which we can utilize. Just mark out a few clouds like this. It was quite a, as I say, it's a pretty thick cloud cover actually. So I'll bring it down behind our buildings there in the town. I think all down here. Right, I think we could do that. But I want some soft edges, so I'm just going to use a little water there to soften it up a little bit. Soften those edges so they look not as though they're stuck on. This is the trouble. If you have too many hard edges, they look like they're stuck on. So I think I'm going to leave that. One of the tips I heard with watercolour is you've got to know when you get your happy accidents, of course, but you've got to know when to leave them. When they you get something, water has got a sort of will of its own, so recognise when you've got something by chance has come along. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to leave that. So I'm going to do general washes generally to get rid of all this white I've got. It's very difficult to judge your tonal values if you've got so much white showing. So I think I'm going to just put some green in the foreground. I've got 3 greens here: hookers, ultramarine, hookers, viridian I should say, hookers, and sap. That's what I'm saying, yes, sap. So just a light, I'm going to work light to dark, getting my light to light values first of all, and then I'm going to get some green out here on this bit of land here. It's sort of a bit marshy here actually, so just gently tickle that in there. Yes, and there's some little browns as well. So I need to wake up some of my colours. They're a little bit dry, so drop some water into the palettes, into there, liven them up a little bit. And when it's kind of wet, I'm using this Chinese brush. These are really good when you want to do sort of more loose interpretation, but they carry lots of water, but you've got this little tip on it which allows you to put some little details in without sort of resorting immediately to your fine brushes. So you want to stay with your big brushes as long as you can if you want, and then go to the fine detail a bit later. So let's get some green in there, and we've got sand coming along as well, which I'll edge there. There's a water coming in here, and high tide this fills up, so let's do that. As I said, I've simplified this picture quite a bit. You just got to really, you're not going to be able to get all these colours in. And let's get some little umber, a little bit of brown tones coming along here actually. And what it's a lot of water here, a little bit of dry brush so I can get some sparkle still. I think I'm going to leave that for the moment. Got the mud bank all along here. As I said, the tide is out, so I should get this in. Right, okay. Bank there. All these little boats and yachts are moored up there. Yes, they're just about on the banks, aren't they? And here I've got a sea wall as well, so I'll try and get that in a minute. A little slightly different tone for that. Should I get, perhaps I should get some of that force water in. So let's get some cerulean. Fairly light wash. A bit of cobalt perhaps. I want to try and reflect that sky. I want to also keep it light. It's oh yes, that can do it. Yes, let's just go with that. Lots of people here on this little beach. Some do crabbing and children just enjoying a day at the seaside. It's a lovely place to visit here out in East Anglia in the UK. Now, is that dark enough? Well, as I said, I want to resist making it too dark, but we'll put some variety in there. Got a little bit of, yes, I think that's working. When it's wet and wet, can you see the sort of diffusion that you get? It bleeds into it nicely. A little darker under here because we've got the cast of the these buildings and shadow area. So let's leave that. There's people paddling here. There's little children here. Let's bring that water up a little bit more. I'll put the people in a bit later. Right. How about that? Now, let's get this beach colours in, really. Actually, well, I've got a bit of brown here. When it's wet, you've got an opportunity to add some different textures. Get some lots of seaweed. So we do that. And along here, actually, there's a bank under here that this building is anchored to. It's just built on piles there. Get that in a minute. And this is a sort of green area here. Nice bit of grass. Let's liven it up a bit, put a bit of yellow into it, make it a bit summery. So I'll use a bit of lemon yellow to vary it, vary the tones. Keep changing the colours, of course. you need to do that. We need to put some texture into this sort of marshy area. I've got lots of different colours. It's very marshy. You don't want to be on this side of the river when the tide comes in, or you're going to be stuck. You're going to have a problem. Right. Okay. Yes, let's go back to that sand. I've got bits of dry sand and different tones. Yes, I think under this boat around here, it's quite dark colour, sort of browns, and I think we'll go with that. First wash maybe with that. Under that little boat there. And a little bit up there. But I think we could make it a bit darker. Important to have your contrasts. So let's put a bit of Payne's grey with that and step it up a little bit. And this under the shadow, under the boat there, better get some of that in a minute. I think I've got to bring it out to this area. Try to create interest in every area, and also under here, these are lovely rocks here, big boulders, I guess, have been put in here. So let's just hint at that. Comes up there. It's quite dark actually there. So let's put some different tones in there. You could just add lots of different colours to your mix, and you will just change it slightly. So I want to get those shadows of some of those rocks. So I've got some Payne's grey there. Right, we'll leave that. I've got to put these little struts in here, which are holding this walkway. So I've got to put those in. There's some fairly neutral tone, and this back bit of the harbour wall is quite a bit darker, so I need to show that. So again, I'm simplifying it so much in our photograph. You can't get all the detail, so you've got to try and simplify and capture the main things which will help the picture read. So put that dark element in there because I want it to read as the harbour wall as it goes out here. Let's get a little bit higher there. And all along here, this pedestrians can walk all along there and a walkway into the town. The town is a little bit higher behind here, so I'll hint at some of those buildings which you might see poking their heads up over the others. Right, let's go with that. I want to... Do I need... Yes, I need to have some dark out here. Let's... Okay. Gotta line that up a bit. Okay. Right. Now, let's get in with that sand. I keep putting it off. I think I'm going to put some yellow ochre in there. It's always a good starting point, I think, for a sandy foreshore. Yes, we can do that. Not so bad. Put some colours in there. Bit of ochre. I'm going to put these colours in for these boats a bit later. Some people are paddling there. Right. Okay. Let's get a soft edge here to this transition from this wetter paint, wetter sand here. Put some texture in as well. Perhaps we wait for it to dry up a bit. Right. Now we've got to put these buildings in as well. We've got to hint at them, so maybe we should put that in right away. Get some. It's the star of the show, I think. Really, that nice little structure there. But I'm just looking back at my reference. Maybe I should just put some general browns and things into the to this building there, and we'll put those details in later. I think so. So we can see what we've got here. Different tones, sort of bricky colour. I think I'm going to put a brighter, a little bit on this face here. This is catching a little bit of sun here. It's hidden a little bit behind that building. Right, and we've got some different buildings as well. They've got little red, try and show the roofs, different bits of roof putting up. got to keep them a little bit lighter in the distance, of course. The colours fade a little bit. Right, now let's see, that comes down further there. I've got to put in the windows, and it'll start to read then a lot better as I do that. We've got a red over here. Let's get some darker tones for some of these roofs as well. As I said, you want to keep changing. You've got to change the tonal values. Yes, now I'm looking at my gantry and that granary. I've got to get that roof a lot darker there, so that can read a bit better. Leaving a little gap between that red that I've done, because I don't want that to bleed too much at this point. Little dabs we can put for these windows now. I'm just thinking behind, I need to, behind those steel structures, let's put a slightly different colour to black out that white, and let's dry it a minute, then we'll put in some of the steel girders. Get some darker tones for some of these roofs now. Yes, I think a slightly bluey grey. Let's go on that. I say it's a fairly light interpretation. I'm not trying to do any realism as such, although it's an impression of what I saw when I visited. My reference, I refer to it, and I've got some of them accurate, but some are a little bit of artistic license, of course, which is what we can do. Yes, I need some darker roofs in some of my places. Let's get them in there. I'm quiet because I'm concentrating. It's amazing how you need to sometimes to concentrate on what you're doing. Right. Now let's get something different colour in that. Bit of ochre, I think. A little bit of pink in some of these, I think we can do. Yes, I think so. Some yellows, sandy colours maybe. Yes. I don't want it glaring white, but that front of that building was essentially white. But too white, it's glares somewhat, so we've got to avoid that. Again, changing all the time, different colours. I said I'll go with a smaller brush in a minute, and we'll put some sort of details to sharpen up on the structures which you expect to see. Some straight lines when you're dealing with architecture. Little green, vary the greens. Move around your picture as well. Right. Now I've got those buildings out there. What colour should we do those? Let's just see what we can do. Yes, I think we need to put a little bit more in some of these. You've got some sort of like dormers on the top of that granary building. All along here, buildings. Yeah, so I think we go with that. Darker, we do some darkers. Burnt umber, perhaps. Got to put in this walkway in a moment as well. I'm just squinting my eyes, and got to see where there are darks. You must have light and dark, otherwise your picture is a little bit flat. Seems to be that way. It's no depth to it if you don't have the contrasting areas. Going to change a bit of colour there, I think. Bring it down here. And let's put some different colours there. Where's that in? Right, how are we doing? Let's see. I think I need to let this dry a little bit so I can have a bit more control over my structure. It'll be bleeding, but I could use a small brush now and put a few details of darks. For instance, this little part on top of this granary building, sort of square building. Some details in here. tighten up on our building a little bit. It's this iconic gantry system here, I guess for taking the grain in. Got big steel supports here, coming like this. Some more buildings here, the town here. Right, that's it, I'm getting there. Slowly, slowly. So you just put some straight lines on your architectural buildings. It starts to read. Although these are just so far in the distance, you can't see any absolute detail of them. You just see the windows, the odd form. In this window, of course, I'm setting this against the white of the building, so you can see them a little easier there. Odd chimney, of course, will help it read. So what you're doing is suggesting it, suggesting your properties. Got some shops here, chandlery, usual things you see in by the sea. Right. Now I think I could. There is some trees in the background there, so I'm going to get that in. I think we've got a few out here as well, so they mustn't be too strong in my colours, otherwise they'll come forward. I don't want to do that. You need to have them slightly greyed out or bluish if necessary to make it read into the distance. There we go. Now let me think, should I get, perhaps I should go for these big girders holding this iconic little thing here. I'm using a little tiny brush here. Can you see that one? That's number 6 round, but it's got a nice point to it. These are all on pillars. Yeah. This one. Dark under here. Got the shadows not catching the sun, so we can put a shadow area under there. There's a lot of structural work there. Got to make sure we ground it, of course. Another one there. this got a shadow under there. Right. Let's, oh yes, we've got these wooden structures here supporting this walkway. I'll make sure they're grounded. So there we go. Start to put a few things in that building. There's a little doorway there. And we've got this, let's change the colour a little bit. We can do them a bit lighter. That's it. We'll just put the little rail in there. There's a gate at the bottom as well, which we can hopefully get that in a minute. Yes. So you could add lots and lots of detail. Just depends how you like to paint. Always be on your guard not to overdo it though. Put too much in a watercolour and it doesn't read. It's very strange. Too little and it doesn't read. But how do you make this decision? Get that dark under here. Right, okay. Now I've got to press on because I've only got so much time on my camera battery. So I sometimes have to finish and then come back and show you a little what I've done. Trying to look again closely at my... Should I get some... Let's get this boat in, shall we? Yes, it's... let's get that dark hull in. Fairly thick paint. Dark tone. So let's go for that. Right. Trying to keep that curved. There's an outboard on there. Big old outboard there. Outboard motor. And all the paraphernalia you have on a boat. Little box there. Okay, we'll tidy up on that in a minute. I'm going to put a line in. We'll get some shadow under there as well in a moment. Here we've got some other little craft, little tenders, I guess. This is a very popular place for yachts. A lot of them are moored here, and also off to the left here. You'll see them if you visit. And we've got put another one here. This outboard. Big inflatable, I think this one was. And we've got our people as well. We can do some outline of them. We can put some colour into them as well. As we go. Just to suggest them, really. Got somebody here. Some highlights on, and little child here is peering into the sand. This is his little sister, huh? Maybe. We need to put some texture in to this foreshore as well. And some shadow under this. Let's get a little bit of shadow colour going. A little bit of blue. A little bit of crimson alizarin. Will give you a nice shadow colour. That's it. Now this front of this little structure on the pillars here, that had a lovely sort of blue colour, but brighter facing me and a little bit in the shadow. So I'm just going to wash that in like that. And I think it was all this colour. But what I'm going to do is have this, this was brighter. So let's just be mindful of that. A little less blue in it, just to catch the white a bit. Okay. And should I put some, let's put a little colour into one of these boats. Bit of blue in there. And this one had quite a bit of yellow in the side there. Now we've got to get some of these boats though, haven't we? Some of these yachts here. Now, what colours are we going to do them? I think I'll just hint at them. Maybe use a bit of gouache later. I want some colour, but I don't want to draw too much attention to them. I just want to get the main shapes. How do we do that? Let's see. Let's get some darker tone there so they stand out a little bit. So I've got, let's improve that, make that show a little better. Actually, that was green. Let's put a bit of green into that. That won't do. It was a largely green colour. say, we've got some green in our on the hillside there. Right, let's put some colour into these folks here. That's a bit of a muddy red. Let's see if we can do better here. Yes, that'll do it. And here. So we'll give him different colours. Right. To soften that shadow there, take a damp brush. That edge, I don't want it stuck on there. You can do that with good quality paper. You can do some lifting. It's more of a problem if you've got paper which is not up to it, so it's best to go with the best paper you can afford, really. At least £140 I think is accepted as a good starting point, actually. I think that's true. Guy here. A little bit of different colour there. Right. How's it coming along? Now I could put a bit of under there to make this read a little bit better, I think. Little window there. This is all boarded as well, so I'm just kind of hint at that. And here as well. Right. Let's put the odd chimney in. Help it read. Improve these buildings a little bit so I can show clearly what we've got here. And down here there's more windows. I'll probably put some highlights in with some gouache. Come towards the end. Now let's have a look. Have I got enough colour on these people? Let's change up, get some, let's try a little orange on this fella. Gotta put something else there. So let's get some different colours going. What about you can do this with a credit card as well, but I'm just using my nail at the moment to give you some shapes. Better to use a credit card, which I haven't got to hand right now. Right, let's put a bit of texture in there in our sea. Let's get into some of these boats though. I haven't got enough detail. Got the odd fisher boat here. Plus, largely I think they are pleasure craft. Let's get right. Right, how much more should we do now? Let's think. Stand back sometimes and review the situation. As I say, should I make this harbour wall a bit darker? I think. Let me get a bit of brown. It is dark under there, on that wall under there. Look. We need to do that light and dark all the time. I think I should have a go at putting in a little bit of gouache and to represent some of these boats. Some of the shapes, as I said there, you don't see them really in detail, but I want to hint at this. So I've got a nice clean brush now, and I'm going to stick it straight into this gouache that I've got, and put a few suggestions here. Of boats. Also a bit of highlights on some of your buildings. Put some windows there, catch a bit of light. You can do that. But have I got enough little dinghies and things here? Let's some highlights on some of our people, perhaps on their shoulders. You can do that sometimes. It will bring out that outboard. Let's beef that up a bit and give it a change of colour there. Oh, that's not so good. Hold on. Right. Some people enjoying themselves there. Let's get back to that that gouache though. I need a stiff colour to some of these boats. Got a structure on, superstructure, and we've got yachts. A lot of different yachts are moored here often. So we could put some darks in, or give some masts. And there's little boats are moored on the mud bank there. So let me see. I haven't got a lot of battery left, so I may have to finish and come back and show you the finished work. Catch a little bit of light on some of these rocks, and these. Oh, now this is a big concrete pillar actually coming through there. A concrete structure. I've rather missed that, so I can. It's not just the steel structures. I need to hint at that a little bit down there. Yes, and the steel structure was coming across it, so we could show that our little concrete structure there. But let's try and sort these pillars out a little bit. I say little detailed things you can add, which are quite pleasing to do anyway, but people tend to look often in the foreground, so if you're going to put details in, that's where you want to put them. They had a gate here. Let's step that up so we can see it better. And there's walkway there. Right. Okay, now let's I need to try and get some of these spars in actually. Perhaps some of these yachts. Let's try and do that. Kind of hint at it. Put some detail on them. Let's put a nice cadmium red one. So where we can put some red on this vessel. Maybe something out here. Right, I think we need to do something with that. Make sure it's standing up. Right. So anyway, there we are. I think I'm going to call a halt at that for the moment. I may come back and do some details, but it's Wells next to the sea. Do go and have a look if you're in the area. You'll in for a treat. But if you'd like to subscribe, please do that, and you'll be notified then when I do more work, and you won't miss them. And also, I'd be interested in any comments you have, if you paint or if you tempted. Well, there's my completed work. I made a few finer details with a little bit of ink, a little bit of stronger paint, some detail on the boats, giving a little bit more shadow and more definition generally to it. Something on the rocks here, I've improved that a little bit. A little bit of texture in the foreground as well, a few grasses going there, and said a little bit of adjustment to the boats, and also our yachts too. I've done a little, got one this in the middle there in the waterway, you can see that, just hinted at him. And also I've taken some adjustments to that gantry. You can see a few highlights on the top of the roof. It's catching the light a bit better, so I've lifted some of my colour there. It was all a little bit too flat. Some more adjustments to the old granary building as well. Done a few things to the windows, and also to this little interesting structure in the beginning there in the foreground or mid-ground. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.